refreshed, revved up, ready to collaborate. As we reconnect, we're overjoyed, though most of us are over, not underemployed. Who are we? Why are we here? And what are our hopes for the coming year? Let's build on the base that we've been building. Let's kick on. Let's do some kick-ass things. I love violence, marginalization, and discrimination. Narratives are a source of fascination. They teach us so much, including about ourselves. I'm excited to catch up and get back in the groove, because this project is ready to move. I'm excited to be back in the picture, to listen, to understand, to see how projects are going on the ground. The poverty reduction group is mostly through with data collection. Good luck to the rest of you. I'm looking forward to the intangible made tangible, as the data is sorted through and understood, and we can use these learnings for good. How can this impact policy? The government angle is absolutely vital. And I'm looking forward to diving in and to growing as we together broaden our knowing, embedding Indigenous perspectives into our learning. I'm glad, so glad to be returning. I'm excited to find fun ways to share our learning with community partners. As theory and practice converge, I'm here to serve. I'm sitting on the sidelines in a quiet way, but still, I created narratives.ca. The second year is often when things start to happen. Trying to wrap my head around this project. Aren't we all? Let's wrap our heads together as summer turns to fall. I'm looking forward to sharing and summarizing learnings that are already quite surprising. And I hope we continue with the trajectory we found, and pretty soon our results will astound. So the critical integrative synthesis team looked at literature on narratives. Quite a manageable body of work. And we tried to identify and analyze common assumptions and practices, barriers and challenges, theoretical approaches, effective strategies, conditions for mobilizing narratives into social and policy change, to provide a model that can be shared, contrasted, and compared with what emerges from other working groups. Let this inform our ongoing data collection. Do other working groups' findings align or point in another direction? We looked for articles that would be a good fit, and we found there aren't a lot of hits in the field of health sciences. There's lots of narrative research, that's a fact, but not much about how this has a policy impact. From 18,000 articles, we ended up looking at 25. It was interesting to see that most are in the environmental field. And as we began to extract data, we were surprised by some emerging themes and insights. We tend to think that policy is evidence-based, but often the opposite is the case. There's a competition of meaning, not a competition of evidence. Narratives are used strategically as a meaning-making device, because when it comes to policy making, evidence won't suffice. Social change often starts with the public. Story is used to bring together and to divide. Story brings out emotions from deep inside. Science has a role in policy change. Power is discussed, but with limited range. What's the impact of how we come together? What about money? Does this have an impact ever? We have to think about who benefits from the promotion of certain types of narratives. We're already starting to find that narratives that are personalized appear to generate victim blaming. Isn't that amazing? But through our approach, some stories will have been missed. If they weren't explicitly called stories, they won't have made our list. But as we move forward, we intend to identify key assumptions that shape the research shape the research we reviewed, and strengths, limitations, and gaps too. The poverty and inequality group has been pretty busy too. 6 cases identified and 9 interviews, and some preliminary findings to share with you. Because narratives often begin from personal experience. Sharing a narrative can itself be empowering and therapeutic. An individual story can make people aware, can change attitude, perception, help others to care. But it's so hard to do this well, to do this ethically, respectfully. And then the story might be lost. And who knows the personal cost? Sharing a narrative creates risk of funding, of scrutiny, as well as personal risk. Not every story is fit to be chosen. What are all the key components? Emotional, moral, policy, depth. A story has to be based on identifying trends and themes if it's to have an effect on policy downstream. Drill the story down into a change that's simple and easy to communicate. Social and policy change doesn't happen alone. It needs a collective. There's strength, reach, and resilience when you're in a collaborative. And change takes luck and also time. Find the right moment to strike. Go straight to ministers if you seek policy change glory, and use real, emotional, passionate stories. The more interdisciplinary endorsements, the better. We achieve so much more when organizations work together. Though it can be challenging dealing with the press and with endless meetings when resources are so scarce. But a recommendation to you from us. Are you probing deep enough? What's the story under the story? Are they motivated by truth or by glory? How could we identify unsuccessful narratives? Our data's one-sided. It's hard to be comparative. Narratives may be used to develop awareness of issues, but they get dropped for policy positions, submissions, and other things too. How could we keep stories and statistics instead? How may we unite the heart and the head? We'll be writing up the cases and sharing all the details. The next group to take the stage, Legacies of Colonialism, isn't the right name. We wish to bring groups and organizations together in a collective way, because that hasn't really happened. We wish to do this respectfully so that we can reflect fully. Colonialism has underfunded communities, divided them. We won't take this approach so misguided, then we'll include and invite everyone. Shared priorities are health, housing, and education. It's essential to build relationships and connection from the start. So with our partners, we shared first from the heart. For Indigenous communities, everything is done through storytelling. We don't only celebrate the successful or most compelling. We found the questions on occasion repetitive. We tried our best to be sensitive and let people speak. Switching off the recorder got us closer to the types of authentic responses that we seek. Moving forward, we need templates to help us communicate with partners and demonstrate the value of this work. How can we use this opportunity to help build partners' capacity? We are learning how storytelling can help us see reality and understand complexity. They enhance our capacity for knowing in a different way. Stories help us see people, not as patients. Health issues, social issues don't exist in a vacuum. You can't understand them with p-values in a classroom. Stories, like people, are multifaceted and complex. Stories illuminate the broader social context. Stories are different each time they're told. Stories are rich, more valuable than gold. Stories speak to the heart and the head. Stories are sacred. So take the structured interview guide. Bring your heart and the hunger you have inside. Let our impact reach far and wide. Let research and real change collide. Together, let's learn and become more wise. Let's take these narratives and mobilize.